is a weapon in Black Myth Wukong that lets you summon a dragon when you perform a heavy attack, and it's locked behind a pretty well hidden side quest. And there are more missable weapons as well with some very unique perks, so I want to go over all of them and how to get them. So let's start with the Staff of Blazing Karma, an amazing weapon that empowers the charged heavy attack of the smash stance. While the description says the effect triggers on attacks that cost over 3 focus points, it actually works when consuming 3 focus points as well. You'll see the staff begin to glow with fire when you charge your 3rd point, and when you release the attack, you slam down, dealing fire damage and leaving a pool of flames on the ground. Now these flames don't deal much damage, but they continue to build up the blaze status effect to ignite an enemy and deal some nice damage over time. While wielding this staff, you yourself are also more resistant to fire, and the Staff of Blazing Karma also adds 40 points to your general defense stat to make you even more survivable. In order to get this weapon though, we need to unlock another one which will eventually be upgraded into the Staff of Blazing Karma. And if you get this cloud pattern staff in chapter 2, which is when it becomes available, it's actually pretty good. It boosts the charged heavy attacks of the smash stance, but it also offers extra defense on the weapon. In order to get this one, we need to find 6 Buddha eyes in chapter 2's Fright Cliffs region. Starting from the Valley of Despair, which is a story related shrine, turn all the way around and cross the bridge. Hang left and pass through the giant gate you see in the distance. You'll find your first Buddha head, which is where you get the eyes from, next to the path, and after grabbing it, move on to the Squall Hideout Shrine. There are 3 eyes close to this one. The first is in the cave to the left of the shrine, all the way to the back left in a corner. Then head back to the shrine itself, take the path to the right, but hug the left wall, and you'll eventually find another head with your 3rd eye for the quest. Then turn around 180 degrees and you'll see some scaffolding going up against the mountainside. Walk over there, use the stairs to ascend, and you'll find your 4th eye all the way at the top. After that, head back to head number 3 and keep following the path, which takes you to the Rockcrest Flat Shrine. From here, the last 2 are easy to grab. One you can spot literally right from the shrine, and the other is in the cave behind the shrine if you take the path immediately to your right. This leads you to the boss arena for the Mother of Stones, but we actually want to head through the break in the wall on our right, where there's a small path which hides the final Buddha head. With all 6 eyes collected, head back to the Rockcrest Flat, past the gate next to the 5th head, and then interact with the giant pile of rubble near the left of the giant arena you now find yourself in. If it's your first visit, there might be another boss occupying the arena, but otherwise interacting with the rubble will start the fight against the Shigandang, after which you'll be able to craft the cloud pattern staff. To upgrade it to that amazing Staff of Blazing Karma I showed you earlier, you need to make it all the way to the end of chapter 5. There are 3 bosses in this chapter that you need to defeat to unlock both the crafting recipe and the required materials. All of these deal fire damage, so bringing the chapter 1 vessel to negate this is a great idea for all of these fights. The first is reached from the Valley Entrance Shrine in Furnace Valley, which is relatively early in the chapter. Keep following the path until you start running into these guys with giant shields, and then after the second one, look for this fire-spitting worm to pop out of the ground. It spawns next to the ledge you need to drop down from to reach the first of our 3 bosses, and you might want to make sure you kill the enemies up top before you jump in, because in my case, Shield Guy fell down and started helping the boss. Anyway, after defeating that first one, you need to make it all the way to the final shrine of chapter 5, the Fallen Furnace Crater. From there, backtrack all the way to the trail with the rolling death ball, which if you've already been here, you'll definitely know what I'm talking about. The ball is now gone though and has opened up a new path on the left. You pretty much run into the second boss directly when entering this new area, so defeat him and you're almost ready to craft Staff of Blazing Karma. Our final boss on the list, the Mother of Flamlings, is located a little further down the slope. Look for a red glowing spot in the ground which is interactable. In order to summon the boss, you need to deliver her 4 flame ores, which luckily can be farmed from the nearby Flamling enemies in this region. So once you've gotten those, approach the red spot, summon the boss and defeat it to grab all the required materials to craft the Staff of Blazing Karma. Now let's look at more secret staffs that are very powerful in Black Myth Wukong. Of course, if you liked the video so far, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for way more videos like this. Okay, now let's talk about the Golden Long Staff that allows you to summon a lightning dragon when performing a charged heavy attack. Yep, you heard that right. A heavy attack with 3 or 4 focus points built up while wielding this staff summons a lightning dragon to assist you in the attack, with a bolt of lightning striking down on any enemy hit. This deals extra damage and applies the shock status effect effect, meaning consecutive hits against them deal even more damage. It also increases the damage of pillar stance moves, so that's the charged heavy, the varied combo sweeping gale, and the follow-up attack churning gale. On top of that, it has a really high base damage and can be acquired in chapter 4, meaning you still have plenty of tough fights ahead where this weapon will come in very handy. There are multiple steps to getting it, and at the end you'll also get another amazing reward next to the weapon. It's a really cool transformation that I'm not going to spoil here, but trust me when I say that it's really worth it to do this. It all starts in chapter 2 from the Valley of Despair shrine, where we want to head into the cave. We want to make our way down to the boss arena, which is immediately to the left here, so make your way down. There's a large mural here that hides a secret, and there are two ways we can reach it. One is to have the boss charge into it to break it open, and if you don't know how to get the boss to spawn, I'll link a guide in the video description. Alternatively, and in my opinion much easier, is to use the Wandering White Spirit skill to headbutt the wall and achieve the same effect. And if you miss the white too, there's a third option if you have the Azure Dust or Rock Form transformation. We'll link to our video on how to get it in the description, but stand near the middle of the mural, use that form, and then immediately detransform to perform a special attack that will break the wall. Then crawl through the crack and open the chest hidden behind the mural to retrieve the long scales. This item allows you to unlock the secret bosses required for this quest, so let's take it back to chapter 1 to find our first. From the outside the forest shrine, hang left and keep going as you'll eventually hear someone reciting a poem. Jump up here and look for the waterfall, which you can now dispel thanks to the item we picked up earlier to find the hidden boss arena. Now depending on when you do this boss, he can be pretty easy, but I still recommend you stock up on shock curing potions for all of these fights, as a ton of the Loong's attacks apply that status effect. Oh, and while it's pretty obvious, don't forget the reward chest at the end of the fight, as we need the materials inside to craft the weapon later. Once you're done with the first, head to chapter 2's Loong-Quest Flat Shrine. To the right of it is a staircase leading up to a giant sand waterfall, so you know what time it is. Dispel it with the long scale, enter the passage behind, and fight your second Loong. After defeating these two, you have the materials to craft the Long Reed Staff, the prerequisite of the Golden Long Staff. While it doesn't have the amazing lightning attack, it still has the effect that buffs attacks from the pillar stance. I tested it, and while the difference isn't massive, it's worth using if you like the pillar stance and don't have a much higher damage weapon available. But we of course want that Golden Long Staff, so it's on to chapter 3's Turtle Island shrine that you'll eventually reach as part of the main story. Head right from the shrine to find a dragon man fishing at the right edge of the island. Approaching him starts a cutscene, and after that you can fight your third Loong. We're almost here now. The final fight of this side quest is located in chapter 4 and is reached from the Oblivion Cliff shrine. Before you set out, you want to make sure you have the Cloud Step spell slotted as well. Go through the long hallway, drop down, and follow the winding path to the right until it splits in two. Take a left to where you see a bridge and cross it, then just keep following the path. You'll eventually reach this cluster of hanging web sacks, and there's a narrow walkway that leads straight through it. Use Cloud Step to turn invisible so you can just walk past them, then continue following the path until you reach the relief of the Fallen Loong shrine. From here, walk up the steps on your right to trigger the fourth and final boss fight. After defeating him, you can upgrade the Long Reed Staff to the Golden Long Staff and enjoy this badass new weapon. And there are even more missable weapons in the game, like the Chubai Spear that comes with a unique moveset and buff to the thrust stance. It's pretty much the only weapon that changes up your light attack combo, so definitely a cool weapon to grab if you haven't done so already. In short, you get it in chapter 3 after defeating 3 captain bosses spread throughout the chapter and interacting with a 4th dead captain. We already talked about how to get this one in our game-changing unlocks video, so I'll link to that one in the video description for a more detailed explanation. And even later in the game, there are still some weapons that are pretty well hidden, as this Bishui Beast Staff is easy to miss if you don't know where to look. While it does not come with a unique perk, its high damage and crit chance still make it a very strong weapon for if you don't want to focus on a specific move or playstyle. In order to unlock it for crafting, we need to defeat the boss at the end of chapter 5 secret area. You reach this by continuing the questline for the bull that you meet near the start of the chapter, so the one that has you destroying the elemental guards. This will unlock the secret area, and then it's just a matter of making it through and killing the boss at the end. You also get the materials to craft an amazing armor set from this area, so click the video on screen for a step-by-step walkthrough of the quest and more hidden armor sets. Subscribe for more Black Myth Wukong content, leave a like if you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye!